Okay. Well, this is an experiment, and I will just read you a few things, and you can see what I do or what I used to do back along. I don't know where I found the time to do this, but here we go. I will start with this little short story I wrote. Here we go. It's called No One No More. The house was a red brick Victorian build, bay windows and a glossy black front door. Alicia lived there with her husband Jack and their two children, Alexander and Julia. They were both coming up to their teenage years. Alicia ran a small art and bookshop in the town, so was getting ready to leave the house to go off to open up the shop. The morning weather was dull and sombre, with that drizzly rain that would get you just as wet as a heavy downpour. She quickly ran to her car, clicked the door open, and got into the driver's seat. Putting the car in gear, she backed out of the driveway onto the main road and into town. The windscreen wipers kept her vision clear, and as she came up to the crossroads, she noticed flowers left at the side of the road. She thought how colourful they look and fresh, so she thought they wouldn't have been there very long. I wonder what happened for flowers to be left there. She soon reached the little car park next to her shop, and pulling into the car parking space, she turned off the engine, getting out of the car, made a quick dash to the shop. The shop felt cold and not very inviting, so she switched on the heating to warm things up. As the morning was so dreary and wet, she didn't expect many customers, and by lunchtime no one had come in. So she thought, I'll close up, get a coffee and a sandwich, and go home. So as she was thinking about this, a nice warm cup of coffee, she checked her handbag to see that she'd forgotten her purse. Left it at home. Oh well, she said to herself, I'll just go on home then. Getting into the car, she switched on the engine, carefully backed out onto the road. Coming up to the crossroads, she admired the flowers there again. But this time they didn't look quite as fresh as earlier. Arriving home, she hung her coat up in the hall and shivered as it suddenly felt cold in the house. Going into the kitchen, she checked the heating controls to see it had been turned off. Strange, she thought. Maybe Jack did it, thinking no one would be home all day, and was trying to keep the bills at a reasonable price. So looking out the kitchen window, she noticed the lawn very badly needed mowing, and the borders needed weeding. Well, that's a job as soon as the weather clears, she said to herself. She suddenly felt quite sleepy, so just got a glass of water instead of waiting for the kettle for a hot drink, went into the living room to sit in the comfy chair. The next thing, she was woken by the sun coming through the window, and looking at the clock, saw it was past 9 o'clock in the morning. She got up with a start and wondered how she could have slept like that, and why hadn't Jack woke her or the children. Going into the kitchen, Jack's coat was on the back of a chair, and the kitchen was as she had left it yesterday. He must have been in a rush this morning, decided against breakfast, as he could always get something on the way to work. And oh, I forgot, the children are on a sleepover at their mates'. I'll see them later, I expect. She got her coat from the hall, shivering as the house felt cold again, but at least the sun was shining. As she came out of the front door, Mr. Mason, her next door neighbour, was just passing, so she called out to him to see if she could give him a lift, but he just carried on walking. She shook her head, thinking, poor old man, he's getting so deaf. Along her way to the town, she noticed the flowers at the crossroads were dead and looked very forlorn. Once at the shop, she saw a notice pinned to the door. The electric had been shut off. Oh, crumbs, she thought. I must have forgotten to pay the bill. Nothing for it but to go back home. As she drove back, she caught up behind a big removal van ahead of her. So she settled into its speed and stayed behind it, following it along. Surprisingly, as she got to her house, it turned in there too and stopped at the front door. A strange woman came out to greet the removal men, and Alicia watched them, starting to unpack the van and taking furniture into the house. Hey, she shouted, whatever's going on? But they didn't hear her. The two elderly sisters who lived opposite stood by the driveway, calling to the strange woman, welcome, I hope you will be happy here. The last family were lovely people. Such a shame they were all in that horrible accident at the crossroads, and no one survived, so they will never live here again. As she recoiled in horror at what she just heard, suddenly the scene before her paled to mist. That took away all she had been watching. Her last thought, I will always be here. That's my little short story. And now, maybe just a poem or two. I won't do much because I can save some for another time if this goes down well, this little webcam thing. Right, so I always liked Roman, Greek, Norse mythology. So this is mythology. And this is titled Hephaestus. I always liked the idea of Hephaestus. Hephaestus, son of Zeus and Hera, mans the forge of flame and fire, husband of goddess Aphrodite, who all men look on and desire. Reviled and shunned by his mother because he was malformed, ugly, lame. Comforted by the beautiful Nereids, he learnt his craft and soon found fame. Hera saw his work and marvelled. Metals and jewels he would transform. Then all the rejection was forgotten as she tried to bring him to the Olympian throne. She begged her husband, Zeus, this favour. Help me, he's Olympia's child. But Hephaestus harboured angst and anger and would not go all meek and mild. So his brother, Dionysus, god of wine and revelry, tricked him in a wine-fed stupor, returned him home in drunken glee. There his mother gave him workshops, underground and out of sight. His father gave him Aphrodite as recompense for his former spite. All gods came to ask Hephaestus, make me weapons and wondrous things. He's now the patron of all craftsmen, and now all gods his praises sing. There you are, that's just a little thing of Hephaestus. And maybe I will find maybe one more. Here's a very short one. Actually, no, I won't, because this one looks like I haven't finished it. Let's find something else then. I'm going to say, okay, a very sad love story, little love poem. I didn't think love could be so brittle. I thought we were solid, thought we were strong. Now both in our separate places we sit, amongst the questions of what went wrong. Halcyon days of shining brightness, first flash of love, first hopes and dreams. We were such soulmates, solid together. Certain we were stitched tight at the seams. Shards of emotion, crunch underfoot, broken life scattered all on the ground. Lying lifeless, complete devastation of a once happy life you thought you'd found. After all accusations and anger is spent, life changed forever, now we're apart. Give up and give in, it's finally over. So farewell to my hope, my dreams, and my heart. There you go. Now, I don't know how long I've been here, but hey, thank you. I'm just seeing your messages here. As you can see, this is nothing to do with gaming. This is another sort of, as I would say, string to my bow. I love poetry. I love books, literature, and everything like that. And I thought this would be just a little change for me to come along and not be gaming. So there you are. I've done you that little bit. I'm not really thinking I should go any longer. This is probably enough, just a little insight into the type of, well, basically, my poetry is about anything and everything. And over the time, if I feel that this is worth doing, if it is going to perhaps pique your imagination that what else might she have, I will be back. But for now, it would be better, it would be a good idea if I could get a better scene behind me than all the stuff that we've got. But there you go. It looks like we're in the middle of moving, doesn't it? Not living. Never mind. It is what it is. And that is all I will be doing, I think, now. The only problem I'm going to have is I'm not going to remember what I've read out and what I haven't. So I am going to have to go through my book here and put a little marker. Otherwise, you'll be hearing things over and over again. I want to try and write another little short story, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to. I've started a couple, and the problem is gaming takes up so much of my time now. I don't seem to have any time for anything else much. So anyway, that is it for now. Maybe I'll tidy up a bit behind me before I come on again, and it won't look quite such a junkyard as what it does. There we go, people. So now I've got to work out, what do I do to shut it off? Do I just shut it off? Maybe. So, oh, there it goes on the bottom there. It says end stream, doesn't it? So thank you, Logan, Amor. Thank you. And I hope you're not disappointed and you expected some gaming going on. I didn't know quite what to title this. So I think I did put stories and poems in the title of it. I just wasn't very inspirational enough to do anything else. But there you go. That's a quick few minutes of, I see up the top here, I've done about 15 minutes. Okay, if I do 15 minutes each time, maybe I will be able to do this for a few times. And I'll be very interested to see how it all goes. So for now, I will end, as it says here, and I'll be back, but I'm not quite sure when, but hopefully perhaps it will alert you to when I am, and we can do a couple more bits of poetry.